No, why are my photos never crisp? Guys, this is exactly how I felt just a few years back. One of you asked me the question, so today I want to share with you my 5 secrets to always get crisp photos. Let's go. Good morning everyone, welcome to a new episode. Alright, today is super special because I want to touch a topic that when I was like a little bit younger, a few years back, I remember I had a lot of problems really getting there, and I'm talking about getting crisp photos. Now, crisp photos are completely different than sharp photos in my opinion, because sharpness just has to do with the fact that your subject is frozen and that you have the right focus. So what is crispiness exactly? Well, you might know what I'm talking about. It's more like a feeling. When you look at a photo, you feel like it's really high quality, you feel like it's popping out of that screen, and that crispiness, in my opinion, there are a few things you can do to make sure you get there. So I want to share with you 5 tips that I built over the years just to make sure that I get crisp photos and that I can see crisp photos also. Oh yeah, you'll see, it's gonna be interesting. But before we get right into it, I want to make a huge announcement. I'm so excited. Next week I'm going on a trip of a lifetime in an amazing location in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and I want to share with you all those adventures. I'm going to be creating videos on location, I'm shooting, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of tips, and I want you to join me. So please make sure you hit the notification bell, make sure you subscribe if you're not. I think it's going to be super important. It's going to be a great sequence, so I'm very excited for this special project. Number 2, we've got a sponsor on that video. It's awesome. The sponsor is Audible. Audible is a platform I've been using for years and years and years. It's been instrumental in who I am today and what I'm doing. I will share a little bit more about it after, but first, let's start with number 5. How do you get crisp photos? All right, number 5 for crisp photos, the most important is to make sure, well, your gear is clean before you take photos. I know that might sound dumb, but you want to remove any kind of dust you have, so make sure your sensor is clean, make sure your lens is clean, because if your photo is not sharp, you will never get to the crispiness part. You know, sharpness is number 1, so make sure your gear is all clean and that you dial in the proper settings. That sounds very obvious, but you might be surprised. I have friends that love shooting with dirty glass, and well, you get dirty results. So please, number 5, make sure everything is clean. Your sensor, your lens, your eye, everything. Number 4 is actually one of the most important, because the most important is that you get the right light in your shots. It is so important because if you don't have the right amount of light, if you don't have the right type of light, your sensor is going to have a little bit of problems getting the right information and making it look good. Because imagine you're shooting in low light and you don't have enough light, then your sensor has to crank up the ISO. You're going to get a lower quality, more grain, your image is going to look a little bit muddy. So if you catch yourself in a situation where the light is not good enough, maybe try to find windows, try to find an external source of light, just to make sure you will get the best results on your images. So even when you're outside, try to find the best source of light possible, and wear lens hood on your lens, simply because if the light is hitting sideways into your lens, although it might look cool and add effect, it also removes a little bit of crispiness in your image. It makes it less contrasty and a little bit muddy in some cases, so you want to watch out for that. Maybe we should move before we get run over. Whew, that should be better, unless someone decides to come out of that garage. All right, number 3 is super important because it happens after you took the photo, and it happens in editing. When you want crispy photos, what I noticed, and maybe you guys can leave me in the comments your opinion, what I noticed is that those crispy photos usually have kind of strong contrast, but also a good amount of sharpness added to it, meaning it's a nice balance between punchy colors, contrast, and a little bit of sharpness added. So when I'm editing, and that's especially true, for example, if you're shooting with the GoPro, with the drone, or if you're shooting in very hazy conditions, editing is going to play a crucial role. So here, let's take that photo for example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of contrast to that image. I'm going to up the clarity a little bit, and I will bring a little of punch in the colors. Last, I would add a little bit of sharpness if I feel that it's missing overall, and that's the result. You see, it makes such a big difference, especially on those shots. So it's not that difficult to get that crispier result, but you really need to do that extra step to get it. Alright, before I share with you crispy tip number 1 and number 2, I wanted to share a little personal story with you guys. You see, when I decided to become a professional photographer, an entrepreneur, I had a ton of things to learn. And now, you know, the best way to learn is through books usually. But here's one big problem. I don't like reading and I don't take the time for it. So one day, one of my friends shared something amazing with me, and it's called Audible. And I remember the day I discovered it, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? You listen to books? And he was like, mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that sounds cool. He's like, yeah, you can listen to books when you're going to the gym, when you're going to a shoot, when you're cooking, when you're driving, all that. And I was like, I should try it out. And I tried it. That was like 6 years ago. And for the past years, I've been using it consistently every day. Here are a few books that really had a profound impact in my life. Number 1, I would say the 4-Hour Workweek from Tim Ferriss. It completely changed my perspective on the work-life balance things. It's not about working less, just want to point that out. It's about working differently and working on what you really love. Number 2 is The Magic of Thinking Big, a very short book, very classical, great book that really talks about mindset, and it's especially great for us artists, photographers, who want to create new concepts that you could have never imagined or that you wouldn't allow yourself to. So that's number 2. And number 3 is simply more around mindfulness and being at ease with whatever is happening in your life. And that one is called The Untethered Soul from Michael A. Singer. Really good book that really got me to chill on a lot of level in my life. So I invite you to pick up one of those for free. Go to audible.com/Pierre or text Pierre at 500-500. And also now they introduced Audible Originals, which are books that are completely exclusive to Audible. Whatever I'm doing, I'm listening to it when I have ghost time. So go to audible.com/Pierre or text Pierre at 500-500. Sign up for their free trial. You get 30 days and you get 1 free book. Check it out. Let me know how you like it. And with that being said, let's go back to our crispy tips. Crispy tip number 2. Guys, when you export your photos, imagine you're done editing, which is great. Now you need to export it to get it on Instagram to share it with the world. Well, if you want to make sure that you get the best quality possible, if you want to make sure that it's crispy, you need to understand the medium you're going to be sharing it to. If you're sharing it for Instagram, for example, I export in 1600 pixels on the longest edge. And that way, when I look at it on the phone, when it comes to Instagram, it's not compressed too much and it looks great. And maybe that's why also some of you mentioned that the photos look really good on Instagram. So yeah, 1600 pixels for me, for Instagram, is great. And the DPI, you guys might be asking, but DPI is a little bit of a complex topic. I think I will cover in another video. I mean, it's complex and not. In a way, it's just very confusing. I think about DPI, I'm leaving it at 72 because you have to set it, but it kind of in a way doesn't make sense. I will share with you in another video why, but let's get on with the last point because it's kind of freezing here. Alright, couldn't find a nice studio to finish the video, so I'm going to finish with that awesome black wall. Guys, number 1, the last tip is simply display medium. Where are you looking at that photo? Depending on where you're looking at that photo from, you're going to have a completely different feeling. And I know that might sound obvious to some of you, but remember, if you feel that your photos are not crisp enough, try to look at them, for example, on your phone. And the reason I'm saying that is phones have more contrast. Usually the display is a little bit better than an entry-level laptop. I used to edit on an entry-level laptop for years, and the day I moved to a Retina display, I was blown away by how much more details I could see in each image and how much better the rendition of the colors was. So remember, it's the same thing as when you're printing. If you use one certain type of paper, for example, matte versus glossy, you get a different feeling. Well, if you use an iPhone, or if you use a Pixel phone, or if you use any phone, any other phone, you will have a different feeling when you look at the photos. Same goes for your laptop, same goes for prints, everything is similar. Some displays will give you a better, crispier result than others. So you see one part is totally independent of the way you take the photos and you basically edit them. It's only linked to where you're looking at that photo. So I hope that has been helpful. I remember that was a huge struggle when I started photography. I always wanted to get those super crisp shots and I didn't know how to get them. And over time, that's what I learned basically about those. So guys, if you like those tips, if that was helpful, remember, leave a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you got any suggestions in addition to what I said that can be very helpful for people. Let me know your experience about that. And also a quick personal thing, I wanted to share my excitement to have Audible sponsor that video, simply because it helps fund the next trip that I'm talking about, for which I highly encourage you to subscribe and ring that notification bell. I will see you in the middle of the Pacific. We'll go together on crazy adventures. It's gonna be great, super excited. So with that being said, guys, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Let's do an interview. What's the weather?
It's great for 5 months of the year.
It's like 32 degrees. It's awesome. Fahrenheit.
Minus infinity every day in winter. It's cold.